All right, and we are on. Welcome, everybody, to the next session of our Delta Green live play. This time around, we are getting started on one of, in fact, the oldest operation for Delta Green, known as Convergence. This was published along with the original release of Delta Green in the 90s, and it has been it's been killing agents ever since. So we're all going to be ready for that. So given that it's a new operation, I just wanted to give kind of a bit of a new spin on the stream, and so you'll notice some fun new effects. I've been learning a lot. And I don't know. Let's get started with some mandatory banter. Mike.
It's mandatory fun time.
Yes. You can remove one song permanently from existence. What song are you choosing?
One song? Hang on. What's that Christmas song by Wham? That is the absolute plague.
I don't remember the name of it.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart.
Yeah, that one. Because every year I lose the bet that you get whammed, right? And the first time you get whammed in the month of December, you lose the bet. So I always lose. So Wham's I Gave You My Heart is the one I remove from existence for all of time.
Nice. Awesome. Travis, if you could experience a book, a movie, TV show again for the first time, what would it be?
Book, movie, or TV show. So basically, watch it cold.
Exactly.
It's... I'll give you a book. Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert Pirsig. I would read it again now, and I would read it for the first time because I read it as a teenager, and a couple of times had a big impression on me, but there's life stuff that hasn't hit you yet that you have no concept of when you're a teenager, and so I think there are some grown-ass adult things that just sail over your head when you're a teenager. So I would reread it and for the first time and have a much deeper reading of it than my 17-year-old self was capable of.
Nice. Good answer. Charlie, let's say you could instantly master a skill. The only caveat is the skill has to be completely impractical. What would you choose?
That's great.
I would be the number one on Earth fitted sheet folder.
Oh.
Yeah.
That skill would be in demand. You have to go on YouTube and here's a tutorial.
Yeah.
How to fold a fitted sheet.
Yep.
Wow.
I don't know. That's kind of practical, though.
A little bit. As long as we'll give it to you as long as you promise never to take a job as a cleaning in a fancy hotel or something like that.
They don't use fitted sheets at fancy hotels, so
I feel like there's a practical angle there where if a dude were to put that on a dating profile, that's some immediate action right there, man.
Yeah, absolutely. 1000%.
I can fold all your sheets.
All right. Kayla.
My palms are sweating. Is that normal?
I guess.
Are you asking us these questions about our characters or the players?
Players.
Okay.
Take your time on this one, but what is the most trivial hill you're willing to die on?
Oh no, I don't know. Okay, I'll think about it. Give me a second.
I was gonna say, I mean, she's died on many a hill, but that's.
Okay, I don't know.
Oh, do it. You gotta do it now. It sounds good.
No,
Uh-huh.
I can't. Like, I thought of something, but it doesn't seem trivial to me.
Exactly.
Point.
Okay, it's that. Okay, the hill that I'm willing to die on is that doors and curtains and lids are meant to be closed all the time.
This is true.
Like the toilet lid should always be closed, the shower curtain should always be closed, the cabinet doors should always be closed. That's their like natural state, is in a
I
closed
feel like I
position.
learned a lot about Kayla's mindset just now.
Yep. Confirmed.
Well,
Yeah. The eyes of her enemies
Right.
also should always be closed.
Whoa.
So,
yes! Wow, that was beautiful and amazing. Thank you for that.
Oh my gosh.
So have you learned something now, Colby, about
I
the
have.
things you should not do?
I have.
Gosh. Oh man.
To start getting into Delta Green a little bit, let me ask you a little bit about stuff going on in character instead. And feel free to like pass and come back on these. We can go in rounds a little bit. But let me see. Do any of you know if your character has like a guilty pleasure song? Something that's completely wrong for who they are, but what they probably like to an inordinate degree. Yeah, Google it real quick. Figure out what songs were out in 1996. No pressure.
Oh, the one I
Actually, my character is not really into like 90s pop. She's more into like 70s like funk and disco.
Okay. So
Like,
then for
Soul Train, Let's Groove, Earth, Wind and Fire, Boogie Wonderland.
nice.
That's the stuff.
So what about a guilty pleasure that's completely out of character for her?
I don't know, Eminem.
He's not out yet, is he? Wait, is he?
Is he?
I think Eminem was working.
I'm suddenly like, I thought he was early 2000s, but now
Oh, no,
I
you're-
am not sure.
No, you're right. He didn't really get big until
Okay.
like really, really late 90s.
Okay.
Okay.
So I guess not. Who came before Eminem?
Vanilla Ice.
Yeah. That's the one.
That. Who was? And then there was Run DMC, but that was late 80s.
Eminem was after the release of his debut album, Infinite, in 1996.
Nice.
Was that his name? Oh,
So he was out
oh man.
at this time. He's real new though.
Yeah. I remember
He didn't- yeah.
people. Yeah, the back then people were all like, "Nah, that guy will never make it big in this scene."
Yeah, it took him like 3 years to get really popular.
Yeah. Okay.
for both practical and impractical reasons, Kurt is a guilty pleasure. He's a sucker for good Euro trash.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he can put the CD in, put the song on repeat, and he can listen to Firestarter by Prodigy 10 times in a row and not get sick of it.
I was just about to say that. I literally was just typing Firestarter release date into Google just now.
March 96.
I can remember the music video for that. I can still see it in my head. So Jeb's got 2 because he came late to some of this music, but Turtle Power by who did that? Was it Crazy? What was the name of the? You guys remember the 1990s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Partners in Crime. That was the name of the group. That's one of his favorite songs. And then his one of his newer favorites is Misery by Soul Asylum.
Oh.
It's 1995. It's I forget what album that is from Soul Asylum, but it's their I think it's their famous one.
Nice.
It's got pearls and all that other stuff on there. So
excellent.
and there may or may not be 2 or 3 Madonna songs on this list.
Of course. So.
And now I've got one more. Just because again, he loves music, but he really got exposed to it kind of late. Is Bad by Michael Jackson.
Clearly.
Yeah. All right, now I'm done.
Kurt will
Excellent.
throw you out of his car if you attempt to play that on his station.
What? On my head. On my head.
All right. So, this brings us, of course, to what do you think your characters have been up to since 1992? We'll get much deeper into this, but do any of you have any like broad strokes or ideas that you were really kind of focused on?
I had one, in that he is coming to the end of his second tour. He signed up for 4 years, and that would have ended in 1992 or 93, and so 96 would have been the end of his second signing. So he's now looking to get out of the army and join the FBI.
Okay.
So he's beginning that procedure. Because originally he was thinking about joining CIA, but he doesn't have the schooling requirements to join the CIA in the 90s. So he's looking to transfer to the FBI.
Nice. That is very thematic. And we'll get to that, but you guys are going to be dealing very closely with the FBI.
Oh, good.
Do you think he got up to any? Was he deployed any in this time period? I doubt he made it. Like, I doubt he went for like Rangers or anything like that to end up in Mogadishu or.
No, he was probably on. Like, he wasn't part of the Air Force, so he was not very involved in Bosnia. And Mogadishu was mostly a Ranger and Marine operations. So, I think, because my history of the 90s operations are pretty poor.
Yeah, there were a couple I think there were a couple Green Berets there, but yeah, it was mostly Rangers and Marines. Well, 10th Mountain Division was there.
And was Delta Force involved with that?
Yeah, Delta
rescue?
was there. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. No, he was not Special Forces. And I think he was probably deployed overseas because you usually have to.
Mm-hmm.
So he's probably in Korea, and then because that gets you combat time, even though it's not active combat. But and I don't. Would they have been deployed to? Were we in? Do we have a base in Saudi Arabia in the 90s? I don't remember. We had one for the Gulf War. No, that's not until 2003. So, oh, he was probably deployed, but I don't think he saw any more combat stuff. Not like the Gulf War. So things have been pretty quiet. He's done a couple U.S. bases and one overseas, probably in Korea, maybe Japan, and now he's probably back stateside.
Nice.
Getting ready to get out.
Nice. So I have another question here. Do you think any of your characters have had any additional experiences with the unnatural along the way? This is very much a leading question for Charlie.
I was going to ask if it was possible that Max would have kind of already started working for the agency.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in a slightly not in the front leading type, but because he wants to learn the electronics part of it. He would be working with them to, hey, how do you throw a tail? How do you do this stuff? You know, learning that. Maybe he would have some. I bet this is what happened. Was he was gonna forget all this, leave it all behind, and then something happens that brings him back.
Okay.
And then he goes into it like full force. Like he's like, that's it, I'm going to get to the bottom of this stuff. And there is no bottom.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thought I'm having there is when we left off, Max had gotten a phone call from that which used to be his mother.
Yeah.
Do you think he kept up that contact?
I think he would have left, like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't believe any of this. Something crazy happened. Then, as he got back out into the civilian world, a little while later, she contacted him again.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where it started back up. And he went to people that he could get a hold of to say, hey, this is what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense to me.
Oh, and his guilty pleasure song is "Just a Girl" by No Doubt.
Awesome.
That was
excellent.
Was 96 No Doubt's debut year? Or was it 95?
It might have been 95, but it was still on the top 100 in 96.
I mean, that whole CD is amazing. Anyway.
I love it. All right. Yeah, any other thoughts just in general what your agents have been up to in the time being? Meanwhile, I'm making a handout for you so that we can go through the mechanics of home scenes and whatnot.
Blake is learning more about repressed memories and like false memories. There's a lot of like memory type psychological research right now.
Uh-huh.
So she also has read John Bradshaw's Homecoming, Reclaiming and Healing Your Inner Child, which is a book about inner child work, and she is considering applying some of that to her practice. She definitely would have interacted with some sort of like Delta Green flavored things, but
Mhm.
mostly through the sessions with Delta Green agents that she's seeing as clients right now. I don't know that she would have seen anything like really closely and personally.
Yeah, but of
because
course
she
she's
rarely goes out in the field.
yeah, and then she's hearing about stuff secondhand, but even within Delta Green, nobody wants to actually know.
That's correct.
So,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So, I'm going to pop up a handout for us to, and I don't know, I think I will use my fancy new transition technology to show us Roll20. And just full screen that. There we go. Okay, so I have popped out this handout for all of you. These are options for what you would like to do with your home scene. And don't take this as a menu. Take this as, like, these are the categories that we're going to try to fit the squishy, wibbly, wobbly things that you want your character to do in between times into. And we'll do some rolls to see how things go for you. So, for example, Blake sounds like maybe she did some special training.
Totally.
Okay. So, and this one's very straightforward. There's no
a non-DG bond by 1.
Yeah, so reduce one of your bonds by 1 point, just to reflect the fact that you're spending time on improving yourself in some ways rather than spending time with your bonds, with your people.
I'm gonna take that off of my my therapy mentors bond, because my therapy mentor would probably be using older psychology, and I'm getting into pop psychology right now.
Nice. Yeah, and then you can go ahead and add that as special training. There's a place very near the exact bottom of your sheet.
Okay. Oh, I see. Special training. Number
Yes.
19. What do I do there? What am I doing?
You can name it essentially whatever you want, and then the so where it says skill, you can just type in the name that you want, and then stat or skill used. That, if you click on it, should give you an option to should give you a drop down, and probably you'd want to set that to charisma.
Okay.
If you're doing pop psych stuff. But yeah, you have.
Is that oh, there it is. It's way down at the bottom. I was
Yeah,
like, oh my god.
for some reason it's like the very last thing.
Cool.
And now that is essentially a skill that you have. And
That's amazing.
when it comes up, I mean, this is how you add things that don't fall into the normal range of skills, like scuba diving, stuff like that.
Okay.
So, pop psychology, and you are currently better at that than you are even at your real job psychology. So
Nice. I'm like super into it.
There you go. Awesome. And then, personally, geographically, what has Blake Harrington been up to? Has she stayed in Denver? Has she, she's still doing essentially what she was, working with Delta Green, but has she stayed where she was? Has she, have any bonds changed? Has anything changed as a result of what she saw in 92?
I think that, like, the reality of Delta Green has really, like, hit her. Like, she's really taken that on. And she feels like a renewed interest in, like, living as fully as possible. And that has caused her to, like, maybe, like, work on her relationship with her aging parent, her aging mother who's still alive. So she has repaired her relationship a bit there. She has maybe started dating a bit.
Okay.
Although it is, like, getting complicated because how do you explain, like, the pop psychology therapist having to, like, get on a jet or, like, something like that to go deal with Delta Green stuff. But yeah, I think, you know what, maybe she gets a cat too.
Nice. What's the cat's name?
I haven't decided yet. Maybe Walter the tuxedo cat.
Ah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, that sounds right. I'll have to post a picture somewhere of the cat picture I'm going to go hunt down now.
Hell yeah. All right.
Thank you, Pinterest.
So, that's essentially what Blake has been up to. Do any of you want to go next, or should I pick on someone?
That sounds a lot like pick on someone.
Yes, choose your victim carefully.
Yeah, I mean, we've already heard a little bit about Amish, about Eli Yoder.
Yep.
So he's been deployed. He's looking to get out of the army and switch over to the FBI, which gives you some options there, based specifically for home scenes. What big change do you think he would be trying to do based on? Well, is he fulfilling responsibilities? Is he just trying to get over what he saw?
Actually, I think the way he's dealing with all that is he's going back to class. He's taking classes because there's a lot of gaps in his schooling. So he has a GED, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he needs a few other skills, so he has to go. So I was going to choose to improve skills or stats. And I have to choose. I choose 2 skills that I improve. Now, if I have nothing in the skill now, I guess I automatically succeed. I guess I have to roll to see if I don't fumble it, but
Right.
Oh, it doesn't matter. You had nothing. There's no way to succeed. So, and the 2 skills he would be learning, it's probably law and criminology.
Okay. Makes sense.
Since I think those are the those two skills you'd have to learn to. I don't have the federal agent template in front of me, so I'm not sure what their skills are or like what their requirements are in those two. So yeah, I think he would be going back and learning law and criminology. I thought it was 3 because I was going to pick human as well.
Yeah. Human and criminology and unarmed combat are the 3 biggest ones. Firearms is there.
Yeah, his firearms is 40. Unarmed is 50.
Yeah, so he's probably close enough on those.
So they don't take law. It's mostly criminology.
They get law 30%.
Okay.
It's not huge.
What's their human?
Human, they give you 60. That's the biggest one.
My human's only. Yeah, I'm only 30 in that one right now.
Okay.
So because I have nothing in law right now. So, but I think criminology and human, I can try to increase those 2.
Yeah.
Because I have nothing in criminology right now. Oh no, I've got 10%, so I got to roll for both.
Okay.
Now I got to also reduce a bond.
Yes.
So I'm going to reduce my bond to my Amish community.
Okay.
Ooh.
So
As
that
I move further away.
Yeah, that distance is increasing both literally and figuratively.
Yep. So is that just a straight up adjustment?
Yeah.
7.
Yeah, just 1 point.
Yep.
And then
Alright, so
let's see if you get
now
those
I roll
skills.
these 2. Yeah, come on. Let's fail 10%. Yeah.
Nice.
There we go. So now I roll 3d6 and add that. I'm on big numbers.
Not bad at all.
12. Pretty good. So now I'm at 22% in criminology.
Okay.
Alright, and then the second one is humans. This one I could potentially pass. Nope.
Close.
Whew. Oh, just barely failed. So this was a successful learning.
All right.
Even better. 13.
Above
so
average on both.
43. Yep. All right. So now I'm at 43 human.
Excellent.
Yep. So I increased both criminology and human.
So is Eli, like, is he going to night classes? Is he just studying on his own, like taking books back to the barracks?
Yeah, he's taking courses while in like part of his job improvement time. And using I don't know if he would have to use a GI Bill to take those courses or if they're covered while he's in there. But likely it's going to night classes.
Nice. Or maybe like correspondence courses.
Could be, yeah, because there's no online courses then.
Nope. I did correspondence school for 7th grade.
You did not.
It was terrible.
How does that even work?
They send you like a sheaf of papers, tell you what books to buy, and they basically just send you all of your assignments for the entire year all at once. And then you mail back your work so that they can grade it. And for my 7th grade, I was a good student throughout most of my schooling, usually like a B+, A- average. I barely passed the 7th grade because, well, we probably should have known at the time that I had ADHD, but like...
I was just going to say you were a good student. That's why nobody knew.
Exactly. And it turns out that ADHD and being handed all of your assignments for the entire year with 0 deadline That is very bad for getting an ADHD person to do anything.
Yep.
So yeah, that year didn't go well for me. I just barely passed.
Well, it seems like Eli does pretty good with those. He is a studious student. He's like, I get to learn all the things.
Aww.
Yep. So yeah, he's succeeded and learned improved 2 skills.
Nice.
But gained no sanity.
No. No sanity at all.
Nope. That's all right. My sanity is still ridiculously high, so
yeah.
we're all good.
Yeah. Most of your sanity scores are ridiculously high.
For now.
We'll endeavor to change that.
Yay!
So, what about Kurt Becker?
Kurt is technically still in the employ of the CIA, but he's been doing a lot of square dancing with the FBI, in that the developing lane for him is domestic spies. Now, the U.S. is FBI territory, but 50% of all embassy staff are spies, and it's a higher percentage for certain nations, and those are Kurt's people. So he's still living in his, condo in Northern Virginia, but he lives and breathes pretty much the same 3 blocks of Wisconsin Avenue over and over again. The interesting thing with Kurt is he has been trying to reestablish his relationship with his German ex-wife, Katrina. She has visited a few times. It's tentative. He has given her some space. She is not in town currently, but she comes over. He gives her some walking around money because he has nothing to he has nothing to spend his money on. He has simple tastes. He's not into stuff. Most expensive, So that's been interesting, and there's the practical, and he is very fond of Katrina, but the practical part of him knows that it would be very good for him to get an EU, to become a German national as well, and then get an EU passport, because that can open some doors for him. And the EU was established 2-3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So when she visits, he likes to take her to the oldest and best German restaurant in DC, which is called Old Europe, and is on Wisconsin Avenue, and is a convenient 3 blocks from the new Russian embassy that opened 2 years ago on Wisconsin Avenue.
Nice.
So he's always there. And there are funny moments occasionally where, because there's so much, diplomacy and spying and everything in that little block, and it's a good restaurant. I've actually been there myself. And
nice.
That restaurant was opened in 1948. It's been in DC a long time. So there are moments occasionally where he makes eye contact with somebody at the Safeway or somewhere in that neighborhood, and there's this moment of they're like, "Oh, I know who you are," and he kind of smiles and he looks back and he's thinking, "I know who you are too, and you're on my home turf right now." So he enjoys that, but in terms of his time, he's still kind of an angry dude. He doesn't fly off the handle, but this energy and this anger, it builds and it needs an outlet. So he's been doing some running. He's been doing a lot of running. He is pissed off that he did not catch whatever that thing was from the last op. And his thinking is that, I gotta run faster so I can catch the things that I can handle and escape the things that I can't. So he's running. He's working on his athletics. and his guilty pleasure, in addition to listening to Firestarter by The Prodigy over and over and over again on his Sony Discman, is he is excited that the second season of The X-Files is about to start. He has the entire first season on VHS. He has not forgotten about some of the intel he lifted from the last job, and he has not said anything about, but mentioning, a UFO photo, something about, Operation Majestic. And he's using he is a fan of the X-Files, but he makes himself out to be like a super fan of the X-Files so that he doesn't raise too many eyebrows with some of his occult UFO research stuff. And the interesting thing was, like, he's thinking, I can get away with being a hobbyist to a point, but if I start digging too deep on certain things, that's going to draw attention. But right now, he's just perceived as this, like, dude that needs to loosen up a little bit and is really into the X-Files, and is always bringing his ex-wife to the Old Europe restaurant on Wisconsin Avenue.
Amazing. I love that. Excellent. So, would you like to focus, mechanically speaking, would you like to focus more on improving skills or on fulfilling responsibilities and maybe improving that bond, maybe gaining some sanity?
Skills this time, I think, simply because, like, he's serious about the running thing.
Yeah.
And he wants to. He's not. If he survives, I think I'll go the other way next time. But I think he's a practical dude, and so he is. The funny thing, he thinks the bonds and building up the bonds and sanity and the mental health and wellness part of this, he's doing it all wrong, but he thinks he's doing it right. So,
nice.
I would say skills.
Okay. And I have to ask about the burns, because he came down to what, 3 hit points last time?
Yeah.
So he was pretty badly burned. Are there any lasting scars from that? Are there any lasting consequences of that? Does he have to... Does he hide that, or does he... I think what we narrated was it was just on his arms and legs, but...
His short sleeve days are pretty much over. So,
okay.
They're visible. It's not that, like, he looks disfigured, he has
right.
lost the use. He's just, he doesn't want to hold a press conference about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, he doesn't want people asking about it. People like in his life, he doesn't want to drawing attention to yourself is bad.
Oh yeah.
He does. So lots of long sleeves, even in summer. Summer there's always like a light jacket, which is good because the light jacket helps cover his holster, because even though it wasn't real effective, he doesn't go anywhere without that SIG now.
Yep. Excellent. So then go ahead and let's have you roll the skills that you want to see if you can improve.
Right.
Oh. All right. A success is not what you want this time.
No. All right. Well.
So the running is going well, but he's kind of plateaued and he's not really getting deep into it.
Well, and then I guess I called. No.
There you go. So, roll 3d6. And,
Okay.
I mean, this is kind of fascinating that he's trying to improve his body. He's trying to be ready for next time. And it turns out that he's just getting more into tarot and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, maybe the burns are interfering with his running in some way. 2 1s. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, it's a very below average roll. Oh, that's unfortunate, but it's how it shakes
gets
out.
through this life through stubbornness rather than skill, so
Yep.
it sort of plays to type in a way.
Yep. Perfect.
So I will reduce the bonded suffering is, even though like she is in town and she is important, his mentor, his grad school professor, who's also in DC, like he's got like 2 unanswered messages from her on his little miniature cassette answering machine, and he's just not like he's blowing that off right now.
Yeah, he's distant.
Feels guilty about it, but like he's making a well-intentioned, if not deeply flawed, attempt to try to do some kind of reconciliation with the ex-wife. So ex-wife ranks above ex-professor right now.
Perfect. All right. So, that's what all of you have been up to. Now, once again, I mean, it's been nearly 4 years. It's a couple months short of 4 years since any of your agents have heard directly from Delta Green, since any of them have been called up. And I would say that Blake, in her practice, in her tendency to see more Delta Green agents than anyone else knowingly, would be getting a sense that things are changing. She hears a lot about discord among Delta Green itself. She's hearing about changes in organizational structure and stuff like that, which she keeps expecting to filter down to her level, but never does, because your previous handler, who just called himself Jake, just after you wrapped up the last mission and reported your sightings, your findings from last time, you simply hadn't heard from him. And so, for all you know, J-Cell did its job. Maybe they were disappointed in your efforts. Maybe they decided to essentially decommission the cell.
Sure. I could see that.
You know, given that you let an eldritch entity run off into the forest.
Yeah.
And that's what you keep thinking until you get the call. In the same old way as before, the message gets to each of you in the same way as they have before. So, for Eli, There is a stranger on the base. You're called in for a meeting. They hand over a manila envelope, this time with a plane ticket, because stationed in Korea, you've got a long flight ahead of you. Looks like you're headed to Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh, good. Just.
However,
right. I mean,
it's listed as TDY attached to an FBI investigation. And it's actually a little bit unusual that you are alerted that this has, anything to do with a specific agency. But you are told to report to the FBI field office in Knoxville and to report to Special Agent in Charge, James Derringer.
Okay.
Oh my god, I just realized we completely missed Max and what he's been up to in between. So,
nothing. He's been up to nothing. I kept him in the closet this whole time. He's tied up in my basement.
Yeah, my bad. So what exactly has Max been doing? I know I set up your character card with you still working at Radio Shack, but I know he's trying to get more involved in Delta Green itself. Is he moving around? Where's he living? What's his situation like in life over the past 4 years?
I think he would have gone back to the Radio Shack he was working at, and whether it was Delta Green or somebody kind of interfering, the store clerk, his manager, Chuck, puts him in for some kind of, I don't know, learning thing with Radio Shack. So he goes to their headquarters, and somehow he ends up going to where he's always wanted to be, which was Japan.
Excellent.
On like an exchange student type thing. And that's where he kind of figured out this wasn't normal training, but he did get to learn a little bit more Japanese. He did make a friend over there, like his contact in Japan, and learned Zen meditation.
Ooh, Blake's interested in that.
So, yeah, he would have noticed that his training was like he was learning things, and some of the things he knew, and I don't know if this was something the higher ups planned, or yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking of something that might have happened behind the scenes. So I don't think I can tell you about it, but it's going in my notes.
Okay. And like in his training and with this person he meets in Japan, he knows that that's kind of, something going on. When he gets back home, he goes back to work. Now he's living in Chicago, and I think that's where he gets the call from his mother.
So it's been a little while before he gets that call.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. So he had this traumatic experience, which, the whole thing took less than 24 hours. I'm sure it probably feels a little dreamlike to him. But he did get hauled back to Denver and paraded through this giant postal service sorting facility, and made his report and was basically told, like it or not, you're following your old man into Delta Green.
Yeah.
And you got the whole briefing of what you can say, which is nothing, who you can say it to, which is no one, and you were essentially folded into this unit as Agent Java.
Yes.
Which I love that as a as an alias.
It means two things.
Yeah. And both were huge in the mid-late 90s.
Yeah.
So you had your trip to Japan, you did some work study. You got this call from your mother, and I will say that Marlene, or whatever is making her voice come out of a body, when she called you, she really just kind of made small talk and wanted to catch up with you over, get a sense of what you had been up to since she died. And it's a little bit of a weird talk, only lasts a few minutes.
Yeah, maybe a little.
And then she basically asks you if she can keep calling you from time to time. What would he have said to that?
He would have... His brain is immediately spinning into overdrive. Like, he knows this isn't his mother.
Does he? He does.
Yeah, he does. He knows. He was at her funeral, and he knows. But of course, he's thinking that whatever's going on here is there's more meaning to this somewhere. So he would probably say, yes, please keep calling me back. And I think on his own, maybe he'd start trying to figure out where the calls are coming from.
Okay.
And I don't know if anybody would. Obviously, everybody's keeping an eye on him because they've already kind of folded him into it, but he doesn't know that. Yeah, so he's trying to find her, and they're keeping an eye on him, trying to find her.
Okay. So in terms of your home scene and mechanically what you're getting up to between sessions, I've got a suggestion, which you don't have to go with, but you could stay on the case. Basically, I'll make a secret roll on your behalf. You do reduce a non-Delta Green bond, because you're just continuing to immerse yourself in this world.
Yes. Yes, make your roll, oh kind sir.
All
the
right.
dice are in your hands.
Okay, make sure y'all can't see this. Okay.
Critical success, awesome.
All right. So you've reduced your one of your non-Delta Green bond scores.
I'm doing that right now. By one?
By one. And I would also like you to roll 1d6. Okay, you gain 2 points of sanity.
Ooh.
Just because you're continuing to look, you're figuring things out. Now, you're never able to nail down exactly where Marlene Bauman is calling from. but it happens more than once. It happens probably a half dozen times over the course of a couple of years. So it months and months will go by, and you'll gather what info you can on one call, and it turns out to have come from like a payphone in Missouri. And the next one, like 8-9 months later, the call came from southern Mexico, and so on. And it seems that she is traveling, or she is disguising where these calls are coming from, both of which he knows are perfectly possible. But if she's traveling, there's no rhyme or reason about where she's going. But just the fact that he is poking around and keeping on it, and kind of taking the time to wrap his head around this and accept that all of this happened and that there is something out there with his mother's voice that wants to talk to him periodically. It helps him to come to terms with everything that's going on. And you'll notice that I also changed your bonds in another way. I gave you 1 point back in your bond with your mother.
I thought that was new.
Mm-hmm. And I accompanied that with a 1 point increase in your unnatural skill.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Okay.
All of this contact certainly does end with Max more wrapped up in this world than ever. And so that brings us back to everyone getting the word. We discussed this for everyone else last time, but how do you think Max gets the call? What do you think they set up? What sneaky, spy-ish way does Delta Green use to get in touch with Max?
I think because on the side, he does house calls, like office calls to go fix equipment and things like that. And sometimes he does it right through the office, too, because they contract out for that. He'd go to one of these, and it would just be a driver for him.
Okay.
Like, he gets into the office, he goes into the back room, and there's somebody there with, hey, we're going for a ride.
Okay. So they literally just pick him up and drop him off at the airport.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as I said, it's early September 1996 when the call comes in for all of you. And you're given a fair amount of lead time, given that one of your members is stationed in Korea at the time, and another needs to be driven around, and you're more scattered across the world than you were previously, but this is something that Delta Green puts up with. I don't know, do you think anything interesting happens? Do any of your characters have a particular reaction to being called up again after 4 years?
Finally. I mean, one of my bonds is literally to Delta Green, because Eli is like really into the job, right? The the whole thing. So he's excited to take the call. He feels like this is an important calling, and now that he's been doing all this improvement, learning new things, and suddenly they call him. He's like, yes, I knew I was doing the right thing.
Nice.
Kurt's reaction initially is he overthinks it and he goes full conspiracy theory, because an interesting thing happening in the CIA FBI universe at this time is Aldrich Ames got busted 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
But that didn't stop it. And the tunnel that was going to be underneath this nice new embassy that was going to be used for surveillance can't, because somebody burned them on that after Ames was already in the, in prison. So there is the active mole hunt for the second big spy. And Kurt is not high enough. He is not a planner. He's not in Langley. He's on the ground doing dirty work, because that's what Kurt does.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets, pinged Rostock, and his first thought is he thinks they're connected. They're not at all, but he thinks they are. And he's like, oh, this is so much deeper. This is finally going to be my big thing. And eventually realizes pretty quickly, it's like, no, it's just totally unrelated. You're still a grunt. You're still a high-end janitor.
Mm-hmm.
But to think, I like the idea of him thinking like, the Russian mole and Delta Green are somehow like in the nefarious forces that Delta Green, fights against, are somehow related, when they're not.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of wondered if you were going to end up staying on the case. But yeah, so there's excitement. There's
he's sort of stayed on it hobbyist, hence the the role. Like he kind of half-assed it a little bit, so we'll see. But yeah, I guess he didn't stay on the case. He kind of dabbled with the case a little bit.
Yeah. So he's eager. He's still looking for things. He's still wanting to do the job at the very least. Excellent.
I think that Blake would have a huge spike of anxiety, and then would very intelligently go to each of her bonds and spend some time with them, and she would have some tea and a bath and do some meditation and get her mind right for this trip or for this project.
Nice. So you get the call. You have they end up having about I'd say 3 to 4 day window to get all of you to Tennessee, which is plenty of time for the actual travel. Even the one of you in Korea, although Eli's probably jet lagged to hell and gone when
I don't even know what day it is when I arrive.
Yeah,
it's weirdly the same day.
Exactly. But where's the picture I was going to use? So you all get the call. You fly, drive, travel your way to Knoxville, Tennessee. And with very little info from your handler at this point, you make your way to the FBI field office in Knoxville. And you show up for this meeting. You walk into a drab, plain office space, the only interesting feature of which is a fairly good-sized TV with a VCR built in. Which, you know, for an FBI conference room in this period, it's decently high tech. As you show up and you take your seats, do your characters have a lot to say to each other? You're left in this room for probably half an hour before your handler shows up. What's going on in there?
Well, I think the first thing Eli does is... I don't know if he's surprised that all these folks are back together. Although he's only ever worked one case, and so the idea that he has the same cell sounds like, oh, okay, that's probably, you know, I'm always with the same squad, so maybe the squad's always going to be together. So, all right. He's used to taking things kind of as they come. He's happy to see them all again, happy everyone's still alive. He sees Max there, and he's like, we wanted to show you. So you're part of the gang now? Is that brought you in?
Excuse me. I'm not sure what brought me in. I know he'll nod to the doctor, and I feel like these guys have never kind of really left my side, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I'll say I've been that thing we were on?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy, right? I mean, it was real, right?
Well, I can say that it's as real as a heart attack was. We saw it. We all saw it.
Okay.
And he's gonna look over to Becker. And I can't remember, what did he call himself?
Mr. Jasmine.
Mr. Jasmine, yeah. And Mr. Jasmine, I hope that you recovered all right. Things looked a little bad off last time I saw you.
I'm good.
That's real good. So yeah, I'd say that yeah, what you saw was what you saw, and hasn't affected you any since then, has it?
Nope.
I want a human.
Go for it.
Because one thing that Eli has done is not forgotten that he let it get away.
Mm-hmm.
So that's bugged him. All right, let's see here, Mister. I fumbled it. Yes.
Wow, and missed it by
43.
Wow.
Missed it by 1 point.
Dice said absolutely not.
I mean, like, it said, Eli, you ain't gonna know nothing. Nope. completely trustworthy.
So, yeah, so I guess the question here is, what does Kurt want Eli to think?
Okay, so, sent you a private note in Discord. Colby's quick. Read
cool.
that. And Kurt just says, he's like, no, really, appreciate you asking. I'm good. I'm tired, though. I need some coffee. I'm going to go down the hall, get some coffee. Anybody else need coffee?
Ooh, I'll take some coffee.
Please.
Yeah, I don't even know what day it is right now.
Coffee's
I'll
all
go with
out.
you.
I'll be back in a few. No. I will be back with the coffees momentarily. And he just doesn't wait. He's out. He's coming back. He's out the door. He's just one smooth motion, bang, 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 out the door.
Out the door, around a corner, he finds a coffee machine, and like as we follow him walking around the corner finding the coffee machine, we pan left again to look back at the front door of this conference room, where a stocky gray-haired man in a slightly poorly fitting gray suit walks in. And all of you, the three of you who are in there, would recognize Agent Jake. And he is wearing an actual FBI badge. Like a plastic badge around his neck, name tag and everything. And he just kind of looks at all of you, looks down at his name tag, which reads, which reads Special Agent in Charge, James Derringer. And he says, "That's right. That's my real name. Things are getting..."
just as easily said, "Hey, this is another cover," and we would have believed you. But good on you.
Nope, this is not another cover. This is my real job. This is why it's all of you involved, and that's why he looks at Eli. He says, "This is why we flew you from Korea. Because this landed directly in my lap." I hope all of you are ready for... I hope none of you ate too big of a lunch.
Oh, Lord.
No, last thing I ate was some poor excuse for South American food about I don't know where I was. I feel like I was in... Was it England? No. What day was I in England? Doesn't matter. I'm good.
Huh. Oh, where's our fourth? And he kind of like stares at the door.
Oh, I believe he went to get some coffee and do some self-reflection as he normally tends to go.
All right. Then we'll just go ahead and wait. And he sets a briefcase down on the desk, rolls a chair out, sits in it. It's been 4 years. This guy has aged 10. He looked like a Korea-era Marine when you last saw him. And to an extent, he still does. He still has the high and tight crew cut that has, at this point, it's basically gone from gray, and it's working its way toward white. Hair's starting to thin a little bit, and he doesn't seem to care. Last time you saw him, he was muscular. Now he looks like he has been spending a lot of time behind a desk, getting that spare tire. But as he settles himself in, I don't know, how long does Kurt take?
Not long. And Kirk
Okay.
comes back with 5 coffees. Oh. And he just looks at the gentleman from before. Huh. Well, I brought 2 for the kid because he looked like he needed, but with his permission, you might want one of these too.
He gives you a bit of a searching look, but he accepts the coffee. He says, "Thanks. I've been up about 36 hours now." So, we got a big one. A real big one, I think. He pops open his briefcase after putting in a 3-digit code. First thing he takes out is a set of reading glasses, and he paws through a few objects, pulls out a VHS tape, just in a plain RCA blank tape cardboard sleeve. There's no label on it whatsoever. And he says, "Now, again, I hope none of you ate too much. This one's, it's not very clear, but it's very dramatic. I'm just going to let it speak for itself." He pops the tape into the set, presses play, and a blurry black and white image with a very low refresh rate, very low frame rate, probably like 6 hertz. So motion is very jerky. Looks like it comes off of one of those fairly new digital video recorders, but then it was transposed onto VHS. And the image resolves into security footage of a gas station. It first shows a 2-door coupe of some kind, like a Chevy coupe, pulling into the gas station. A young man gets out of the car, looks agitated, or maybe sick. He looks like he could have a fever or something. Not that he's moving slowly, but he looks pained. The screen shifts as he walks inside, and you get a view over the shoulder of the cashier, looking at this guy. The young man looks agitated. He's a little bit shorter than the cashier. The young man walks up to the counter, looks blankly at the cashier. The cashier's obviously asking him something, but there's no audio. The cashier clearly gets more agitated, is getting annoyed, and makes a gesture like, "Hey, if you're not going to buy something, then get out." You can imagine him saying this as he throws his arm to point at the door. The young man lashes out, reaches over the counter, and punches the man in the side of the head with his fist. And the cashier's skull collapses. The head is torn clean off. It is splattered all over the rack of cigarettes behind the counter. The corpse staggers for a moment as blood gouts from the stump of the neck.
Ugh.
The young man steps back with a look of shock. The cashier's hands actually go up and seem to be like spastically reaching some last dying impulse before the body collapses to the floor. The young man rushes around to the cash register, hits some keys, grabs all the bills out of the register. He runs off screen, returning a couple moments later with, he's stuffed the cash into a pocket, and he is carrying what seems to be the store's entire supply of aspirin. Just aspirin bottles off the shelf. And kind of clutching them to his chest as he runs back out into the night, gets in his car, and speeds off. And I need all of you to make a sanity roll based on what you have just watched.
Oh boy.
Starting us off strong, huh?
Oh yeah.
Sanity.
Oh wow.
Success. Oh man. Becker failed by 1 point. That's ridiculous.
So all of you have succeeded aside from Kurt Becker. Kurt takes 1 point of sanity damage. The rest of you take none. It's gruesome, for sure. But all of you have been involved with worse, directly. It's just the shock of watching this kid who looks like he might be about 18, just reach across the counter, and it's almost like the speed of his hand and fist doesn't match the energy that is clearly liberated into this cashier's head. The tape ends, and Derringer stands up, pulls the tape out of the VCR. He says, "I'll make this available for you if you decide that you want to watch that again." This man held up 6 gas stations and drugstores over the last few days. First in Tennessee, then Alabama, finally in Georgia. He was caught after his last heist. An FBI agent and a state trooper both put 4 bullets in him between the two of them before he went down. He's alive, and he's currently being held in the next room. His name is Billy Ray Spivey, and he is nothing more than a very scared young man with muscles that don't appear to be human.
And by not human, do you mean abnormally large, or are you talking like they look different?
They are not abnormally large. In fact, to look at him, well, he looks exactly the same now, today, as he did in his last high school yearbook photo.
How long ago was that?
2-3 months ago it was taken.
Alright.
He's obviously in pain, you'll see that. But the simple fact is he has not grown. He is no heavier than he was. But he now possesses tremendous muscular strength. However, his skeletal structure has not changed. That young man could pick up a car and throw it through a window. But his bones would break before he could hold it for that long. Further examination has revealed to me that, well, evidence of extensive surgery. Somebody cut this young man open and replaced nearly every muscle in his arms and legs with something else. The scars from this surgery are not visible to the naked eye. The incisions seem to have been closed with the same unknown material which his muscles are now made of.
Oh. They pulled out his muscle and replaced it with something, and we don't know what that something is.
Yes. If you were to look at it, it would look very similar to human tissue, but under a microscope, well, I had to read a couple of new people into things as friendlies over this. Because when it comes down to it, if you take a look at that tissue, it looks nothing like human tissue. It's some kind of tissue that mimics human tissues, but it has nearly 8 times as much DNA. It has cellular structures we are not familiar with, and certain markers and aspects of the cell itself are completely unknown to science.
Would you be able to make those scientific findings available to us?
Of course. And since we're handing this over to you, I'm making Spivey himself available to you. As I said, he's in the next room. He's heavily sedated. But you can talk to him if you think that will help anything. I have done so. I can tell you his story. If you think you can get something more from him, well, you're going to be the agents on the ground today. And just like last time, I like to keep things fairly hands-off. I will take care of things on the administrative side. I'm your cover.
Okay.
What does he say? Does he mention anything about how he acquired this new abilities?
Well, he says that he has no memory or knowledge of what happened, but apparently he vanished for some short time period. 11 days ago, he vanished from his parents' home in Tennessee. He returned 9 days ago. He was dazed. He had no knowledge of what had happened. He was ill, as he is now, and in a great deal of pain. His parents took him to the doctor next day. The doctor found only that Billy Ray was in inexplicable pain and had a remarkable appetite. He had no bowel movements and didn't urinate. Then, 7 days ago, he went into a fit. His father tried to hold him down, tried to keep him quiet, to keep him from hurting himself, and Billy Ray punched his fist through his father's chest. And that's where the run from the law began. He fled down the road toward town. When he got to Groversville, he robbed a Sinclair Gas and Go of $65 and several packages of aspirin. He took the cashier's car and he headed off down Highway 135. The cashier said that he had no gun but demolished the counter with his bare hands. And from there, he fled to Alabama and Georgia. Those who encountered him said that he was manic, no real sense of what he was doing. He robbed gas stations of money, food, and painkillers. It was after this video I just showed you came to my attention that the FBI took interest, and the fact that he was fleeing across state lines gives us jurisdiction here. I saw the tape and immediately decided to take this over as, well, as a matter for our organization.
What is our story here? How are we represented as should any other agents ask?
Yes, you are going to be covered as agents, any of you who at least feel comfortable with that. I can also arrange credentials matching a technical specialist or a consultant if you prefer. But we will, of course, ensure that all of your documents are in order.
I'm comfortable with that.
Good. Yeah, that works.
I'd like the contact information for either or potentially even both the agent and the statey who subdued him. I have some questions. I want to ask them a couple of questions about how that went down. Can you make that available to me, please?
Sure, no problem.
Do we, would also like to, is his mother willing to speak to us?
I believe she will be.
Okay. That's good. That's real good. Because I think that we should, very much like to hear what she has to say about the night where he had the unfortunate incident with his father.
We're going to gather some information. We're going to ask some questions of our own. But is it your assessment that this young man, how much agency did he feel that he had at that time? Is this a situation where, setting aside the why for a moment, the kid just did not know how strong he was? He meant to pop his old man, but he didn't mean to put a fist all the way through his chest? Or did this kid feel that he was not... Is this a situation where he did what he wanted to do, he didn't know his own strength? Or is your assessment that maybe he wasn't entirely in control of his own actions?
My assessment is that now, as at the time, he doesn't seem to be in full control of his faculties. He does seem to be in a somewhat dazed or crazed state of mind, owing to the extreme pain. We have him, well, again, you can question him directly if you prefer. We have him drugged heavily with a muscle relaxant. But as far as I can tell, he was semi-conscious, and what loss of control he had owes entirely to his underestimating his own strength, as you said, and also simply being in a pain-induced sort of fugue state, if you will.
Okay.
And I'm gonna look over to Hot Jen over there. And then,
Hot Jen.
what about you, Miss Jennifer? Do you have... What's your take on all this?
I would have to speak with the subject directly to give any real professional opinion. But based on what I'm seeing here, it seems like this is a young man in distress. Perhaps he has had a psychotic break. Perhaps he has experienced something which is causing him to perform these actions out of trauma. I really couldn't say yet.
Well, that's fair. That's very fair.
Now, our cover story for sending agents in is that you are investigating a drug dealing ring connected to Spivey and operating out of Groversville. The idea that he was on some sort of drug, feel free to use that, but if this comes to the media's attention, we're in trouble. I have more to say about that, but for now, we need to focus on getting you oriented. Would you like to speak with Spivey now?
Yeah, yes.
I would certainly like to.
Okay. He leads the way. He locks his briefcase back up. Leads the way out the hall, around a couple corners, through a gated security checkpoint, and you're shown through a heavy door into an interrogation room where he is he's being held on a hospital-style gurney. There are 3 FBI agents in tactical gear, one of whom, all 3 of which are carrying M16s, one of whom keeps a rifle borne on Spivey at all times. And as you walk in, they actually shuffle around just to make sure that none of them point the muzzle at you, but at the same time, there's always a muzzle pointed at Spivey.
That's a lot.
It is.
I see.
And he's 18 years old. He's a kid. He is he's dressed in sneakers, blue jeans, and a Metallica t-shirt. He lays on the gurney with arms and legs strapped down, and also across the chest. Do any of you not have human or medicine at 20% or higher?
Well, let me double check exactly what I got going on here. Humans. Yo, sorry,
Max does not have either.
Okay.
What was the 2? Humans and...
Or medicine.
My medicine is 40. My human is 43.
Okay. Yeah. So, Max is, if Max came along at all, Max is just like, he looks a little sleepy. The rest of you can tell very clearly that he looks very heavily drugged.
I think Max is out in the waiting room, kind of wondering why he's there.
Is Agent J with us, or has he stayed out here for now?
No, he's come with you. But he just takes a place in the corner and steps out of your way.
Special Agent, could you tell us exactly what he is sedated with?
I don't know the name of it. I can get you that. It's a very powerful muscle relaxer.
Okay, so he's not going to be up to speaking very clearly.
No, you're not going to get much very clear out of him, and honestly, better that than that he's in pain and on a rampage.
I understand.
So just to be clear, this is the guy who was like seen on video like assaulting,
Punching.
Yeah.
punching
Yeah.
a guy.
And very clearly, you can tell it's definitely the same kid.
And how do we have him again?
He
Why do we have him?
because he was shot 4 times
Ah, I see.
and taken down by a Georgia state trooper and an FBI agent.
Okay. Has anybody interviewed him yet?
And Derringer looks over at you. He nods. He says, "I've interviewed him extensively. Spent hours, but honestly, I've gotten very little from him."
Okay. Shall
I'm
I
gonna-
go in now?
Well, I'm assuming we're all in there now, right?
Oh, yeah,
We're all
yeah.
in the room with him? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'll start talking to him. Do we know his name?
Billy Ray Spivey.
Yes.
That's right, Spivey. Okay.
Delaware Spivey.
So then, are we? We're probably using our fake names now, right?
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Okay. I just called myself Jennifer. Okay, so I'll say like, "Hi, Billy. It's nice to meet you. Let me introduce myself. I am Jennifer. I am a clinical psychologist and licensed social worker. I'd really like to talk with you and maybe ask you some questions now, if that's okay."
It hurts.
Can you tell me what your name is? I'm just trying to like establish that he's like aware.
Lucid?
Yeah, lucid.
Billy Ray Spivey.
Billy Ray Spivey, do you know where you are?
I'm in jail.
Do you know what day it is?
I don't remember. No.
What's the last thing you remember before coming here?
I was driving long time and I was real scared and was in a lot of pain.
Do you know why you're in pain?
No, it's been like this since I came home.
Since you came home from where? Billy, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to keep track of what's going on.
It hurts. I went to my girlfriend's house, and then I saw her, and I came home, and my parents said they were real worried because I've been gone for 2 days. And
Billy, where were you for those 2 days?
I don't remember anything about being gone. I don't know.
Billy,
I thought
why don't you take a second and try and see if you can remember what happened during those 2 days, and we'll see. And I like look over and make eye contact at our like group leader or whatever. And I'll see if we can get some more pain medication for you, please.
Yeah, it hurts. But I can't remember. They asked me so many times. When my parents said I was missing, I didn't even believe them. I thought they was playing a trick on me.
Okay, Billy. Do you remember taking anything before this happened? I'm not trying to get you in trouble. I just need to know if you took any pills,
No.
shots. Did
No.
someone give you something?
I don't take drugs. No, I don't like them.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Has anything like this ever happened to you before, where you've lost time?
No, nothing like that. Others in town, sure. And
he perks up at that.
Derringer speaks up and he kind of nods and he says, Groversville has had a string of strange occurrences as of late. As I mentioned, the media, it's actually become a bit of a UFO hotspot. So the people in town who are attached to the media are actually these sorts of ghost hunter, Bigfoot hunter types. You know, paranormal kooks. And he gives a very meaningful look toward the other FBI agents with the rifles, and he says, "It's all hogwash, obviously."
Billy, is that something that you were involved in before?
No, I never had. I don't know. I never had any missing time. I still don't have no missing time. I mean, I don't remember the last few days very well. I was hurting so bad.
Did I see anybody leave to go get him more pain medicine?
Yeah, one of the agents did step outside, and as he comes back in, Eli, you would see what he's got. It's Versed, which is a pretty common muscle relaxer and anti-anxiety.
Okay.
I'm gonna step up to him and be like, just real quietly, go, "You don't have any sort of ketamine on you?"
The guy gives you a look and he says, This isn't the DEA.
I'm saying, I don't think this muscle relaxer's working. He needs something to kill the pain.
And Derringer says, I know. We keep him fully sedated. That's the only way we can tell to keep him from being in this much pain constantly. If you will finish asking what questions you might have for him, then we will give him something a little bit stronger. Does that sound okay, Billy? And he's like, yeah, I could sleep.
Billy, before you go to sleep, can I ask you a couple more questions?
I guess.
How do you feel? How do you feel on the inside? Is there anyone else in there with you? Are you hearing anybody talking that the rest of us are not responding to?
What are you talking about? No, I ain't crazy.
Of course not. Of course not. I would never suggest that. I'm just trying to help. Just trying to understand what's going on.
I ain't crazy. And he jerks a little bit, and you hear a click as one of the agents flips a safety off. And you even just... It looks like he was actually trying to scratch an itch or something like that, but the restraint creaks threateningly.
Billy, do you feel like you're in control of your body right now?
Yeah, I know. I'm real strong for some reason. I don't understand it, but I can move normally, I guess. Everything hurts though. It's like every bone's broken.
I'm sorry, Billy. I know I'm trying to get you some medication now. Hopefully this will help.
Thank you.
I think that as much as I could have while I'm trying to have this conversation, I'd like to be looking out for his, like, muscle tension and, like, is he, like, slurring his speech? Does he seem to be lucid? Like, are his pupils dilated? Like, I'm sure we can see, like, the pulse monitor going. So I'd like to, like, see if his, like, pulse changes while we're talking. And if he seems very clear. Like, clear-headed.
I doubt any of that's going to be true.
Yeah, no,
know,
he's
right?
he's super drugged. As expected with the dosage of Versed that they're giving him. He might not even remember that this conversation took place.
Okay, great. Well, I can hardly get a good read on him if you guys are going to drug him up so much. I'm, like, mildly accusatory?
Oh, yeah.
Being mildly accusatory?
And Agent Derringer just kind of chuckles and he says, "This boy, I mean," and you can see that there are bandages on his chest. But he says, "This boy took a 38 special and 3 10mm slugs. If he wasn't drugged like this, I don't care how well-meaning he is. He could scratch an itch and put a hole in his chest. He could knock his head against the wall and kill himself."
Doctor,
Okay.
if you when you're done speaking to him, I would like to have a minute with him. He just looks over at
you were
Jim.
talking to me.
Yes. Because you're the doctor.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, sure, you can talk to him. I think maybe if he's open to it at some point, I could try, like hypnotic, like memory suppression or expression tactics or something. But we don't have to do that immediately. We can ask him some more questions first.
Is this an internal monologue? Did you audibly say that? Or
Yeah.
is this just what's going through your head?
No, I said that out loud.
Kurt would just say, I've got 3 or 4 specific questions in mind, simpler ones, and 2 of them might benefit from that technique if you think it'll work.
Well, it's kind of a new thing that people are trying, so... And I haven't had much training on it, but I'd like to give it a try here.
Knocking people's
everyone
heads
is
off their
amenable.
body is kind of a new thing that people are trying these days too, so I'm willing to try it.
It's well, do you all want to speak with him further, or should I have a look at him?
I got 2 questions before your technique and 2 questions during, and I'll just ask the 2 before, before the technique, and then he'll just pass the other two to the doctor, but he says, Billy, we're gonna go back home, and we're gonna help, straighten some things out, and we're gonna look after some people that you care about. Is there anybody back home that you're worried about? Anybody you think is in danger? Anybody you want us to check up on?
My mom, my girlfriend.
What's your girlfriend's name, Billy Ray?
My mom's Angel. And, my girlfriend is... somewhere in my notes.
It's somewhere in...
Well, it's
somewhere in my...
The girlfriend's name is Angel, right? Angel something.
No, Angel is his mother.
It
Angel
is
Spivey his mother.
Jane Allen.
Did you say Jane or Jean?
Jane.
Jane Allen.
And where? Ask them where they live.
Just
Jane.
gonna pretend he didn't hear that question because that's easily determined, and he's gonna ask, "Is there anybody back home who scares you, creeps you out? Who back there would you say is bad news? Because every small town's got somebody who's bad news, really bad. Who's bad news back home? What should we be worrying about?"
No, it's a tiny little town. I mean...
So you're not worried about anybody or anything hurting Jane or hurting your mama?
No. Except me. And he bursts into tears and just is sobbing there. He says, "I killed my dad!"
And while he's sobbing, Kurt's just gonna go to Jen and say, I want to. He's not going to be able to piece together a really detailed timeline, but I'd be interested to know, and maybe you can peel back a couple layers. What's the last normal thing? What's his last, most recent memory where everything was normal? What's his most recent memory? What's his first memory of everything being weird? And was anybody with him during either one of those two memories? I've seen the shows in Vegas where you dangle the watch and hypnotize, and people say all kinds of stuff, and I don't know. I'm not saying that your technique is like that, but I'd like to know what's the last normal day he remembers, what's the first weird day he remembers, and was anybody with him? Because if anybody was with him on either one of those days, those are some of the first people I want to talk to when we get to town.
And Derringer says, "I've asked him the same questions. He at least claims not to remember exactly what sort of timeline or anything."
Well, it seems the last person he remembers talking to is his girlfriend of his. And somewhere between then and when he went back home, he lost 2 days. I think this Jane Allen, real important person to talk to.
Is it the school year right now?
Early September, yeah. Yeah, classes have been in for a couple of weeks.
What grade is he in?
He graduated. So he was getting ready to start a job, have an off year. Okay. But he was just having, his summer after his senior year.
Gotcha.
All right. Eli's just sitting here waiting for you guys to be done talking to him.
Kurt's just going to ask one of the FBI agents, not the one with the gun, because he's got a job. I'm going to need to requisition some gear. Who should I talk to here about that? And as soon as Kurt gets a name, he's walking out and he's going to find that person. Because they need to get kitted out.
Yeah, and Dillinger nods. He says, now this is a drug case, so you may be going up against some bad people. We're perfectly fine to issue you with some level of tactical gear. That said, Groversville is a small town. You'll do more harm than good if you are seen openly, heavily armed.
What's the name of the town you just mentioned?
Groversville, Tennessee.
All right.
I would probably take a small handgun.
I still got mine. Are you guys gonna ask him any more questions?
I would like to try memory recovery hypnosis, but everything else needs to be finished. Like that needs to be the last thing we do with him.
Is Mr. Jasmine? I guess he was finished, right? Because he just asked the question and then left once he got the answer.
He's off looking for hardware.
Okay. I mean, nothing exotic, but
sure.
A couple of tactical vests, a couple of Remington 870s, and to see if they got any DEA, gear laying around, just to throw people off. Like, they're not looking to have a news conference about it, but if they have any, if they have like a windbreaker laying around that says DEA on it, somebody sees that at least temporarily, throws the locals off the scent briefly.
They don't have anything like that, but they are happy to issue you with the FBI windbreakers.
All right.
Remember, according to everyone else in this building, you're actually an FBI agent.
It's true. This is my chance.
Exactly.
I get my dream. So it looks like people are sort of done with it for the moment. Eli's gonna walk up to him. He'd be like, "Hi, Billy. My name's Jeb. I'm with the FBI here, but I'm also a paramedic. I just want to ask you a couple questions. I also would like your permission to put my hands on you. Is that all right?"
I guess.
Okay. So Eli just wants to sort of feel if his muscles feel different.
They do not. You do just a quick pat-down examination. He seems sore in all of his arms and legs. Chest and abdominal muscles, he seems fine, but arms and legs seem tender to him. But to you, they don't seem knotted. They don't seem like they are overly hard or overly soft. They all seem like they're the right size and in the right place. But when
I don't see any. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, when you poke him once and he jumps a little bit, you sense that strength.
Okay. So, Billy, when I press on you a little bit, that hurts, right?
Yeah.
That hurts, and despite the fact there is no bruising, that hurts real bad, right?
I know. They took me to the doctor before my dad, and he said I was completely fine. I just needed rest. But the pain didn't go away.
No, sir, it did not. Obviously you are in some considerable Stressed.
You have no idea. It's all the time. It doesn't stop. I haven't slept.
Have you ever broken a leg, Billy?
Yeah, broke a finger when I was a kid.
Yeah, do you remember how that felt when it was healing?
Yeah.
Was that pain similar to this pain?
A little bit. It's kind of like sore muscles, but a lot worse.
Yeah, I'll bet it does, yeah. Can you also tell me a little bit if you itch? Do you itch everywhere?
No, nothing like that.
Okay, that's alright. Does your chest hurt when you breathe, when you take a deep breath? Does it hurt?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna have a look at your wounds real quick, alright?
Sure.
I won't prod at him, alright? I'm not gonna stick anything in you. I'm not gonna cut anything. I just want to take a look.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gonna just look at the bullet wounds and see what he sees, because he's expecting that these wounds do not look like he took a 10mm.
They absolutely do not. You pull back the easiest bandage to access, and there is a puckered scar that looks like he was shot by a 10mm round, maybe 6-8 months ago.
So they look like they healed rapidly.
Very much so.
I see. Billy, do you remember being shot? Do you remember when you got these wounds?
Yeah.
Did it hurt over much?
Shit, man. I got shot. It hurt.
Did they do anything to pull those bullets out? Do you remember?
No, they took me to a hospital, and I woke up a little bit, and they said they was operating on me.
Mm-hmm.
But the pain didn't go away. I hoped that being at the hospital would do it, but
these wounds.
I don't know what they did to me.
Do these wounds here hurt you right now?
He looks down. He says, "Well, no. I guess I forgot about him a little."
I'll bet. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst pain you've ever felt in your life, and 0 being no pain at all, what does this feel like right now with the ones in your muscles? What kind of pain is that?
10.
A 10. This is the worst pain you have ever felt.
My whole life, yeah. Well, I guess it was worse before they caught me and drugged me up. I guess.
I also heard that... How hungry are you right now, Billy?
I just keep eating. They tell you I haven't taken a shit.
I've heard that. I have...
He says, 9 days. 9 days I haven't even needed to pee.
9 days.
That doesn't sound right.
So for 9 days you've been eating like the world was ending, and you haven't had to go to the bathroom once.
That's right. And all gas station food.
Does everything you eat go down all right? Does anything hurt when you eat it?
No, I'm always hungry. I just keep eating.
Have you eaten anything that's not food?
No. Well, some of them Texaco taquitos maybe ain't really food.
In the army, we classified that as a biological weapon. But I have to admit, the fact that you have not currently had a blowout the size of Hiroshima in your pants tells me that something is deadly wrong.
I don't even feel bloated.
Well, Mr. Spivey, it sounds to me like you either have one hell of a brain is currently losing the name of the thing that makes you not gain weight when you eat.
Metabolism?
Yeah, that's it. You either have one hell of a metabolism, or you are so backed up, you're certainly going to be shitting out of your mouth soon.
Jesus.
It's not an encouraging bedside manner, but...
I have a charisma of 8. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I said, you don't feel bloated at all. You don't feel no pain in your lower abdomen?
No, nothing.
It's actually I'm gonna press on you a little bit around your stomach area, alright? You tell me if it hurts you.
Yeah,
and
it's
he's
fine.
Just sort of palpate around, no pain at all, huh?
No pain at all. And as you feel, you can also you can tell there's nothing there's nothing in his lower intestine.
Yep, he's got nothing stuck.
Nothing stuck. He's not bloated. There's no backup.
All right. Oh, very good. Despite all the sedation they have given you, you are very clear-headed to me, Mr. Spivey. Has your pain increased since we walked in that door?
Yeah, it's getting a little worse, yeah. The drugs wear off real fast.
Agent Derringer, when was the last time he was administered?
That was just about... He looks at his watch. 10 minutes before we started our conversation. We're putting enough Versed in him for 4 people.
Dang.
Okay. Alright, Mr. Spivey, I thank you very much for your time. We're going to try and find out what it is that someone either gave you or did to you. Alright? If you think of anything, you go ahead and reach out to Mr. Derringer here and he's going to let us know. Alright? We're going to look in on your girlfriend and your mom. Okay?
Okay.
In the meantime, I want you to think real hard about when this pain started, okay? When the first time you felt it. And were you doing anything at the time? Taking anything, giving anything, speaking to anyone?
I remember that. I was driving home from Jane's place.
You were driving home from your girlfriend's place, and then suddenly you were in pain.
That's right. I was
you
driving
still
home from Jane's place, and it started to hurt. And I got home, and my parents freaked out, said I'd been gone for 2 days. And Derringer speaks up and says, I called his mother. She says that he left to see his girlfriend at about 9 p.m. 2 days later, he showed up at home at 8:30 p.m. There was no contact in between.
And then he drove home?
That's what she says.
I'm gonna have a look at his car, too. It's his car here. Oh.
The car he was caught in is here.
And was that stolen or was that his?
It was stolen. It was one of 3 cars he stole along the way.
I see. We should find Mr. Spivey's actual car he was driving home that night in. Mr. Spivey, I have no more questions. Do you have any questions for me?
What's gonna happen to me?
Well, for now, they're gonna keep you nice and sedated, alright? They're gonna try and keep the pain back while we find out what happened to you.
I'm going to jail, aren't I?
Well, honestly, I can't tell you that right now. That's not my place to say. But I do want you to understand that sometimes bad things happen to good people. Alright?
Yeah.
And, did you mean to hurt your dad?
No. No, I was gonna push him off me.
And things went a little pear-shaped at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright. Well, we're gonna find out what happened to you, alright? But what we need you to do is, while you're here with these people, I need you to be as calm and collected as you possibly can. Because Mr. Danger over there's right, you could hurt yourself real bad with the strength that's in you right now. We're not sure what's causing that, but as soon as we find out, we'll figure out a way to stop it. Until then, you gotta be real careful with your movements, right? Pretend everything's made of glass.
I understand.
Alright, Billy. You rest up now. And, I'm just gonna look over at Jennifer and be like, it's all yours.
Alright, it's hypnosis time.
And, yeah, I think I'm gonna step outside, grab some coffee, and just sort of think this over. As I, myself, have 6 pages of notes I'm just pouring over it. Although I probably should write down what she says. Yeah.
That reminds me, are we taking a break tonight?
Probably not, because we're going to be done in a few minutes.
Oh, no!
So... I don't know how thoroughly you want to roleplay hypnosis. I could give you, like, a general...
Yeah, so you're
outline of it?
Yeah, you're putting him in a state.
Work. It might not.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, you're trying to put him in a state which the drugs he's on is not going to hurt at all. He's almost in a hypnotized state as is.
Yeah, that's kind of what made me think of that.
So, why don't you roll your brand new pup psychology skill for me? Excellent.
Success!
No doubt at all. So you have about a 15-minute hypnotic session with him. And what you find out is this. He genuinely does not remember anything from that missed time. He didn't repress it. There is genuinely nothing there, and you're able to get him to a point where you're getting him to visualize the route that he was driving from Jane's house back to his own home, and what was playing on the radio and all of that, and you're able to get him to recognize that there's a break, that there's a discontinuity. And you're able to get him to recognize that there is missing time, but the time is still just completely missing.
Okay. Poor guy.
Yeah, and the session is not easy on him. The drugs are rapidly wearing off, and he has to be restrained again, just because he late in the session you have it broken off because he starts to squirm with the pain, and it sounds like the gurney that he's on is just gonna creak and break to pieces. So the other agents step in and they fully sedate him to keep him in less pain and less agitated.
Okay.
That's I feel a little bad here that Max hasn't done anything with this whole interrogation. Should just come in and be like, "Hey, what video games do you like? Are you a big Mario Kart fan? Do you like anime? Which anime is your favorite?" Yeah, I feel bad for Max, but sitting out there doing nothing. We're sitting out here just like.
Well, and we could say that Max is working along with Kurt on the tech and equipment side of things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the FBI's happy to issue you, they're going to issue you with a van to travel to Groversville in. It's not that long of a drive, but it's a couple hours.
Real quick, is there any chance I could have made a medicine roll while examining him? Just to see if anything... I know we role-played it out real well.
Uh-huh.
I'm reaching to try and get it checked. I don't know if that would be medicine, first aid, surgery. I don't know.
I will let you roll medicine at a minus 20%.
All right, this is gonna fail. It's not. Hang on. It's a success.
Nice.
Because it would have been 20%.
Yeah.
Because I'm at 40. So 9 under 20.
Excellent. So, as you are examining him, I will say that you got the agents to bring you, like, the best magnifying glass they have, or, they bring you equipment from their crime lab, and you get a really, really close look at his skin, and you are able to see the surgical scars.
All right.
And you can see them not because they're a different color or a different consistency or anything like that. If you were to run your hand across them, it feels like even less than a tattoo. But they bring a UV light in and shine it down, and you can tell that this stuff absorbs UV just a little bit more than normal human skin does. So you can see this tracework of dark, hair-thin lines all across his body. More scars than would be necessary just even to completely remove every muscle from his arms and legs. There are scars across his abdomen. There are scars across his head, his face, his hands. There's even a tiny tracework of scars across the tips of his fingers. This kid has gone through an absolutely inhuman amount of surgery.
Yeah.
He's like the Wolverine.
It's Wolverine. Is claws gonna come out of his knuckles next? Yeah. So then when Jem finally leaves the room, he just sort of like puts his back against the wall, like, oh God. Oh, that art in heaven and all the angels, but what on earth was that? He was blown apart, put and sewn back together. Okay, well, glad I rolled, and kind of glad wish I hadn't. But, Whew.
So, with that, Agent Derringer lets you know that he's going to be staying in Knoxville to keep the FBI happy and to keep anyone from sending additional agents or anything like that. And you're all going to be able to draw equipment from FBI stocks. In addition, this time around, he even gives you a briefing document.
Oh my goodness.
So I've just shared that. There's nothing in it that we haven't already said, but you can refer back to this.
Okay.
If you need any other details somewhere along the way. And by the way, I did get some, I did indulge in that Humble Bundle. And so I've got Delta Green content in Roll20.
I was considering that. I saw that bundle and I'm like, man, oh man.
Yeah, it's in the compendium and everything. So I'm
Wow.
not sure exactly how to do it now, but in theory, you might be able to like drag and drop equipment onto your sheet.
Well, that would be real nice.
Anyway, that was just a few hours ago, so I don't know how to use it all yet.
Yeah, you gotta input it.
Yeah.
Put it all in, make it all fancy.
Yep. But
Alright.
so that is to say that you take an hour and a half with the FBI getting geared up. Derringer, of course, hands each of you very real-looking FBI credentials, and and basically tells you to just like show that to any other FBI agents in the headquarters here, and you can get what you need.
I'm not really 26. I'm actually like, clearly I just have a baby face. And I'm in the FBI.
So,
Alright.
Blake is going to take this very seriously, of course.
of course.
Oh no, yeah, obviously Jeb is too, but inside he's like, "Eek."
He's like, I'm in! I made it!
Like, well, this is gonna be real soon. Although I have my real name, which would be kind of a downside at the moment. Just have my real name changed. The army won't care about that.
Nah. Yeah, so you get your gear, you drive the couple hours cross country into toward the mountains. Groversville is kind of on the eastern Blue Ridge Mountains area of Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
And we will, as you come into town, you get your first look at Groversville. Let me zoom this out. There we go.
Merle Shut-Eye. Guessing that's a motel.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so you just drive along Highway 135. And it's very rural most of the way. You see nothing but trees. You watch as the road signs go by. Groversville 25 miles, and still you're in farmland, and you're approaching a very visible ridge, and then Groversville 10 miles, and still no sign of anything. You aren't aware that you're in a town until you go around that last curve, and there's Merle's Shut-Eye with the big neon sign, bigger than necessary for the town's only place to stay. And we will pick up next time with basically letting all of you off the leash in Groversville.
Oh, good. It's funny. I'm currently sitting in West Virginia, in the mountains in a small town.
So this is going to
I know exactly.
feel very real for you.
This feels very real. I turned a corner and boom, there was a town. And it's on one street. Like there's one kind of 4-lane highway running through the town, and that's basically it. So
Yep.
it's crazy. Yeah, but it looks a lot like this actually. So cool.
Awesome.
Well,
Awesome.
yeah. This case file reminds me a lot of watching an X-Files episode, and I'm super pumped.
Yep.
Poor guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
god.
feel bad for
poor
that.
Billy.
Colby, you played him so well. I was real sad.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, don't be sad, Billy. We will fix you. And I'm thinking, no, we're never gonna fix you. You are
We're really not.
1,000% a dead man.
Whatever happened to
I think
you,
last
you're
time-
fucked. You're living the
Like,
rest
oh,
of your
look at
life in a
you.
tungsten room.
Pretty much.
You are gonna have a real fun rest of your life. Because I've seen the X-Files. I know that the monster clearly lives a fulfilling life afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that was
Cody's
was
like,
crazy.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's so hard not to spoil things.
I know, right?
It's so hard. My life is so hard. Feel bad for me.
Nah. I'm excited to see how Max integrates himself into Delta Green.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I always think of Jasmine as our group leader. I don't know why that is. Because I talk more the most out of everybody. I apologize. That's why I really should have made my charisma higher. Because I'm like, I'm gonna talk my head off in this game.
Mr. Jasmine's just a man with a plan. He steps
He's just
in.
a simple man making his way across the galaxy. He is Boba Fett.
Well,
Got
Boba Fett's
weapons.
looking at Max, and he's thinking, in my mind, and we didn't have the scene, but if there had been a scene where we were like gearing up, he's gonna look. It's like a quick little aside scene where he just says, as they're loading a couple of shotguns, and he's gonna say to Max, like, you know how to use one of these? And then he's gonna, gesture to his sidearm. You know how you ever used one of these?
Nope.
And he's like, we're gonna need to get some lessons in real quick.
The real question is Max the type to be like, cool gun? Or is he like afraid of it?
He's not afraid of it. He just likes to let the people that know how to use them, and he'll try to stay out of the way. He uses
That's
different
right.
tools than other people do.
As my drill instructor once said, just make sure the business end is pointing away from you. The ouchie side goes that way.
Mr. Jasmine. Well, like, he just wants to get into the theater fast. Like, he'll do the briefing to a point, but he's listening, he's gathering informations. But in his mind, and maybe to mine too, I don't know. It gets interesting when they get on site. Like, when they get
Oh, yeah.
down, that's when it gets interesting. So, are we still recording?
We are.
Yeah.
Should probably sign off. Thank you
I
for
guess
everyone
so,
who
I'll say,
listened to our rambling.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I thought about not saying anything, but Colby can verify. Like, Mr. Jasmine came back with 5 coffees because he bugged the room before he left.
He's a sneaky guy.
Oh.
That's awesome.
That's so awesome.
I guarantee that Eli would have not even considered that he did that.
Yep. And I sure hope he recovered that bug because Agent Derringer.
Oh yeah, no, you don't leave that around.
Yeah.
Oh no.
If Agent Derringer found a bug in that room after that Someone's dying.
Someone's gonna die, and I hope it's not me. But awesome, Colby. I can't wait to get let loose in this tiny southern town.
Yeah, and this one's going to be very freeform. It's up to you guys to decide what to look into. Stuff will happen, but
where is your? I don't remember. I'm sorry. Where is your character like from? I mean, you know, there's the Amish thing. Is he from Pennsylvania or Amish country?
Pennsylvania.
Or
Yeah, he's from Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Or at least the area around Lancaster.
In that general vicinity, I got you. All right.
Yeah. I think I had mentioned that his actual community was just south of Intercourse, Pennsylvania. But,
That's right. I do remember that.
Yeah, but it's all the Lancaster County. Since that's the community I'm more familiar with.
nice.
So yeah. Yep.
Well, thank you all for coming tonight. I'm excited to dig further into this, and we will see you again next week.
Thanks, Colby.